When they had crossed the lake, they landed at Gennesaret. When the people who lived in that place recognized him, they sent word throughout the whole region, and they brought to him everyone who was sick. Then they begged him that they might just touch the edge of his clothes. Everyone who touched him was cured. When I was a kid, on nights that I would have a hard time falling asleep, or maybe nights that I'd try to have a hard time falling asleep so that I could stay up later, I used to go to my parents, and my dad would give me a sweet tart, just one of those little sweet tarts that come in a 3-pack, and he would say it's my sleeping pill. Now I recognize that doing that has some ramifications, and maybe today couldn't be done. Although I guess I've probably tried the same thing, but somehow I was convinced that this candy-tasting treat was really a sleeping pill, and within minutes I'd find myself in bed, sound asleep. Obviously, the little condensed candy didn't put me to sleep. It was my belief that it would help me fall asleep that did. It reminds me a little bit of this story we have here. See, this passage in Matthew comes right after Jesus is on the boat, or coming toward the boat where the disciples are, and calls Peter to come off the boat. And they finally get across the water after that whole scenario is over. And as they land in Gennesaret, they are met by people who are in awe of what Jesus is capable of, what Jesus does. They go and they get everyone who is sick, and they bring them to Jesus, and they plead, they beg Jesus, let them touch you. Even just the hem of your garment, the edge of your clothes, let them touch it and let them be healed. Now, from there, we don't get a description of what happened, right? We don't get a description of how many people came. We don't get a description of how they crawled to Jesus and where on his garment they touched the hem of his clothes. All it says is this throwaway line almost of everyone who touched him was healed. That's it. Matthew doesn't give a lot of detail. Now, why I find that interesting is Matthew is otherwise known for tons of detail. He tells the story that leads up to the healing, but not the story of the healing itself. Maybe it's because the focus of this is not on the healing itself, but rather on the belief in the possibility of the healing. The belief that even touching the garment that Jesus wore, heck, even touching Jesus himself would bring healing to their bodies, mind, and soul. That very belief brought them healing. Do I know that every affliction could be healed by touching Jesus, that all of a sudden open wounds would be closed and cancerous cells would disappear by simply touching Jesus? I don't know. I wasn't there, and Matthew doesn't give us the details. All it says is that all who touched him were healed. But here's what I do know, is that wounds that are open in here find themselves closed up when I discover that Jesus is with me. Things that I'm battling in here, the battle is softened when I discover that God is with me. There's a hymn that goes like this: He touched me, oh, he touched me, and oh, the joy that floods my soul. And here's the best part of the hymn. Something happened, and now I know he touched me and made me whole. You see, the best part of that hymn is something happened. I don't know what, but something. I don't know how, but somehow. I don't even always know when, but sometime. Somehow, some way, Jesus heals me and makes me whole. Am I ready? Or maybe more importantly, am I willing? Am I wanting to go and even touch the hem of Jesus' clothes? Maybe in that desire rests the answer. Amen.